So first, let me just take an opportunity to thank everybody who stood in for me last week in my absence. The dynamic duo, Alima and Betty Boyd. And everybody behind scenes, making sure that the place was open and closed and cleaned and ready to go so that we could come together and fellowship, be in community, welcome new people. I am eternally grateful, you know. A lot goes into making Sunday happen. Sometimes, you know, it might seem like, you know, when you get in here, everything is just smooth and easy, but a lot has had to take place in order for it to be that way. And a lot takes place before you move into our classes. There's a lot of preparation, a lot of time. There's a lot that goes on behind the scenes, and creating workshops and being prepared to sit with somebody in counsel. There's a lot that goes on. There's a lot that goes on in preparation and preparing to get up here and sing a song. So I'm just wanting to take a moment to acknowledge it as it is and to say, I am truly, truly grateful. So our theme for the month, a whole lot of faith. A whole lot of faith. And a few spiritual principles just to get us anchored this morning, which is also titled What We Believe by Ernest Holmes. You can get a copy of this by downloading the QR code, going to our website, and you'll have exactly what I have in front of you. We've added a little bit more wording to the principles as they are stated by Ernest Holmes. So this morning we are working with spiritual principle number 1. We believe in God, the living spirit, almighty one, indestructible, absolute, and self-existent cause. We believe this one manifests itself in and through all creation, but is not absorbed by its creation. We do believe that the manifest universe is the body of God. It is the logical and necessary outcome of the infinite self-knowingness of God. Spiritual principle number 6, we believe in the unity of all life. We believe that everything is connected, and that the highest God and the innermost God is one God. We believe that God is personal to all who feel this indwelling presence. Spiritual principle number 4. We believe that heaven is within us and that we experience it to the degree that we become conscious of it. And finally, spiritual principle 11. We believe in our own soul, our own spirit, and our own destiny. For we understand that the life of all is God. I have to share with you that I'm still coming to understand that as you minister and lead, that there still be firsts that happen for you. So I had a message prepared, and then things happened last night, and then I didn't have a message. So I think it's important, however, that we talk about things that's happening in this world and not bypass. Some of you might know, and some of you might not know, but like many of you, I heard the news last night as it was reported that the former president had an apparent assassination attempt on his life. Now, first of all, let me just say, violence is not the way. Let us be clear about that. So, in addition to that happening, and if this is your first time hearing about it, I do apologize. But in addition to that event and all of the other anxiety that that these United States that we find ourselves in today, there is this Project 2025 that people are talking about, and everything that's aligned in it. There is the upcoming election, a few months and there's two individuals, and everybody is shaking their head to both of them. So it's a whole lot going on. So before I could get the news on my own about what happened to the former President Trump, my neighbor called me. And I don't usually pick up the phone too much if it's a neighbor. But it was a whole lot going on. One neighbor was having a party, and the other neighbor who lost her husband, she called. And as soon as I picked up the phone, she said, "Did you hear what happened? Did you hear what happened? They shot him. Trump, they shot him." In my mind, I was like, "Shot him?" And then she said, "But they didn't kill him." And so she went on and on and on about how bad things are going to be, how bad things can be, and how things are going to be bad for black people, and it's going to be bad for, she just was gone. Clearly in a panic. Clearly she had panicked. But the times that are before us, they certainly do not call on us to panic. They don't call on us to panic. They call on us to prepare. They call on us to practice what we preach. They call on us to pray. Tell your neighbor, don't panic. Don't panic. Don't panic. I was reading a column by Reverend Dr. Jim Lockhart, who is a longtime minister in New Thought, and particularly Science of Mind, and he shared he has a blog, and in it he shared a quote from the New York Times writer Charles M. Blow. And here is the quote: "Panic lacks perspective." Panic lacks perspective. And see, it is upon me that it is always that we are looking at the macro, but these same words apply to our own life. Don't panic. Don't panic. Pray, practice, prepare, practice, pray, don't panic. So let us not panic. But the deal is that each of us have to know what it means in our own life so that we don't panic. For me, maybe it means a little bit less social media. It's too many people saying too many things. And I don't know who's telling the truth. Maybe we could find some reliable sources and begin to share with each other, one or two people that we feel are consistent in what they are reporting. Don't panic. Maybe we can just stay engaged in a way that feels right and comfortable for us. Maybe we can get involved to the degree that we are able to get involved, but don't panic. Don't panic. Our theme for the month, a whole lot of faith. Now let me just take a step back or two. As I said, I'm just kind of piecing things together because I had to throw away what I had and just be open to whatever Spirit is wanting us to discuss and to talk about today. So this is a conversation, and I need you all to converse with me. So there'll be an opportunity because I want to know what you're thinking about. I want us to begin to practice. I want us to prepare. I want us to move into whatever the moment is calling us to move into so that we don't panic. So that we don't panic. So our theme, a whole lot of faith. I want to bring this into the conversation then. I was going to start us off with a quote from the great poet Robert Browning. He once wrote, "Man's reach should exceed his grasp." Or what's heaven for? If we're not reaching for something that's not easily obtained, if we're only reaching for what's easily attained, then what is heaven for? What is life for? Everybody can get what's easily obtained, but that's not our lot. Those of us who profess to be living a spiritual life, choosing to live a spiritual life. So, Mr. Browning suggests that heaven is not found in what's easily obtained. And this is important for us, those of us who believe that heaven is within, and that our life can be a heavenly experience right here and right now on earth, and not in some far-off time and in some far-off place. The question is, what are you reaching for? What you can easily attain? What understanding, what greater idea, what greater insight are you reaching for? If it's not beyond your grasp, if you don't already have it, then you're reaching for the wrong thing. You're reaching for the wrong thing. Are you reaching for what's easily obtained, or are you reaching for the heavenly life? Are you moved into and declaring and decreeing for yourself that every day I get a little bit better? Every day I do a little bit better? Every day I imagine something greater than my current conditions? Every day I'm open to changing my mind? What are you reaching for? If you're even reaching for something at all, it must be beyond what we currently are experiencing. I'm still talking about the same thing, these conditions that present themselves in our lives. We got to reach for something greater. We got to know something more than what is presented, what is being presented in our lives. Are we every day doing work to expand our consciousness? What are you reaching for? Are you settled with what you already know? Your idea that you have that God and I are one, the same idea that you had yesterday, is that enough? It's an infinite, infinite, infinite idea. What are you reaching for? In The Science of Mind 365, Ernest Holmes writes this in a reading titled, "I Prepare for That Which I Wish to Experience," on page 261. He says, "Realizing that all action starts with and is a result of consciousness, I prepare my mind to receive the best that life has to offer. Mentally, I associate myself with that which is good, beautiful, and happy. I am increasingly aware of the one presence, the one life, and the one spirit, which is God. Believing that it is the divine intention for everyone to live an abundant life, I consciously align myself with the outpouring of spirit, accepting that all things are possible to the one who has faith. I daily increase my expectancy. I broaden my vision to include the greater good for myself and others. I cultivate faith, keeping my consciousness open to an increasing awareness of my union with good. So, this gives us a clue then for what it is that we are reaching for. We're reaching for all. The one who has faith, a whole lot of faith, is reaching for all. Ernest Holmes says that each one of us has access, because we are one with God, right here, right now, immediately, in our own consciousness, all. We have available to us all. Don't panic. Don't panic. He goes on to say that when we understand our unity with God, that is the beginning of wisdom. And when we understand our conscious unity with God, we then begin to experience this infinite good. But we've got to have faith that the things that we are reaching for can be obtained, that the peace that you are reaching for can be obtained, that the joy that you are reaching for can be obtained, that the abundance that you are reaching for can be obtained. We've got to have faith. And in this teaching, we don't say that we have faith in God. We say we have the faith of God, otherwise translated as I have faith in myself. You got to have faith in yourself. We've got to have faith in ourselves, individually and collectively, to be present to whatever life is presenting to us. That we will circle back around and align with the one mind, the one power, the one presence, and not be so disturbed and deterred by what we see and what we hear. Don't panic. Practice. Don't panic. Prepare. Don't panic. Pray. See, the thing is that we used to say stuff like this, that my faith is being tested. But that's not true. In this teaching, we might say something more like, I'm testing my faith. Don't panic. I'm testing my faith. I am one with God, the ever-living power and presence almighty at the very center of my life. It leads me. It guides me. Never forsakes me. We test our own faith in this teaching. And it calls on us to be wise. And before I open it up for questions, I have one or two more points, but I want to share with you the reading from the teachings of Ptah-hotep, the oldest book in the world. Kemet is where it comes from. In it, and in this book, it is ways of living. In it, it says this: the wise person feeds themselves with what endures, so that it is happy with that person on earth. The wise is known by his good actions. The heart of the wise matches his or her tongue, and his or her lips are straight when he or she speaks. The wise have eyes that are made to see and ears that are made to hear that will profit. The wise is known by their actions. Don't panic. The heart of the wise matches his or her tongue, and his or her lips are straight when he or she speaks. Now, listen, we've got to be able to make the distinction. Those of us who are choosing to live a spiritual life, we've got to be so discerning that when we do say that we are living consciously and intentionally, that we are living consciously and intentionally. There's a stark difference between living consciously and intentionally and just being positive and doing the right thing, doing what's right. Everybody can do what's right. Everybody knows the difference between good and bad. It's easily obtained. Everybody can speak positively. Everybody can say an affirmation, but everybody can't live a conscious and intentional life. And the moment is calling on us to live a conscious and intentional life. And if you think you are living a conscious and intentional life, your grasp, what you're reaching for, is not quite far enough. The difference between living a conscious and intentional life and simply speaking positively and doing right, the difference is night and day. Night and day. Don't panic. Equates to, are you living consciously and intentionally, or not? Because either you are or you're not. Either you are or you are not. See, living consciously and intentionally means that our inner living supersedes any outer experiences that we are having. When we are just simply speaking positively and kind of rote in what it is that we say and are being good, When you are living consciously and intentionally, you remember stuff. You don't go numb. You don't forget stuff. You're not scared to bring up stuff. But if you are just living positively or stating positive things and trying not to do bad things, being good, what's easily obtained by everybody, you'll be quick to not remember things. You'll be quick to press down and numb ourselves and numb yourself from feeling things. You'll be quick not to remember. Conscious and intentional living, you remember. You remember what it feels like. God and I are one. When you are living consciously and intentionally, you want to know about your words, the whys. You want to know if your words have affected someone so that you can get back into practice. Forgiving 70 times 70. None of us have reached it yet. Don't panic. Practice. Decide whether you are living consciously and intentionally or if you're just simply speaking positively and affirmatively and knowing right from wrong. This is our work. This is our work. Living consciously and intentionally is not easily attained. Trust me. Living consciously and intentionally means you're willing to tell the truth. If you just are speaking positive and can speak affirmations and know the difference between right and wrong, or you're apt not to tell the truth. Conscious and intentional living is as different as night and day if you're only speaking positive and know the difference between right and wrong and acting in it. Don't panic. Now is not the time, as I said a few weeks ago, for us to be have skepticism, doubting. Now is not the time to doubt. Now is the time for us to pray. Now is not the time for us not to have faith. Now is the time for us to have a whole lot of faith. Don't panic. Don't panic. Let's see. What's on your mind? Okay. Anybody? Yes.
I would like to invite, so you talked about having to not panic and have things in context, right?
Yes.
And so, okay. You know, I'm a history major. I write social studies curriculum, so I'm always thinking about history. And one of the things that helps me to not panic is we've been here before, right? It's not new. Project 25 is, it's not even new. The Heritage Foundation has written things like this before, but I would like to invite anyone who's interested. The SNCC Legacy Project, they're doing a free test of a college course. So if you go to the SNCC Legacy Project's website, you can enroll. It is Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, starting this week from 6 to 8, I believe, online, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday for 3 weeks. And I invite us to look at that for context, because SNCC organized and went through all of this. Our ancestors have organized and went through all of this. So for context, we can look at the first iteration of Project 25 and why they at 25. Why didn't they implement it? How have they not been able to implement this extreme conservative vision that they've had in the past, that they keep rolling out, you know, every couple of years? How did we survive it? Mm-hmm. And I think the SNCC Legacy Project gives us a window into looking at what we've done before.
Yeah. Thank you for that. Listen, I really appreciate that, because we're here on purpose to support each other for times just like this. No other reason. No other reason. Anybody else sitting with something they'd like to share or struggling with? Don't know where it's sitting in you. Maybe you don't have resolve yet. Listen, you got me and a whole room of practitioners. I don't want you guys, like Jerry said, you get it right, and then next thing you know, you back to panic, you back to fear. It's the whole point of this. We want to fill each other up so that we can say to somebody else, don't panic. And here's why. Don't panic. Are you prepared? Don't panic. Have you prayed? It's us. And those of us who have the same collective consciousness as us, the world is waiting on us to show up. Yeah.
Oops. I would just like to concur with what Reverend T said, not to panic, but we also have a responsibility to know the facts and to know exactly what's going on. And if you don't know where to get the facts, maybe that's something that we can work on as a handout to get the facts and how it will affect you. And therefore you can make the decision that resonates with you, your personal life. Yes. And the other thing is, collectively, we're very powerful as a human race, everyone. And everyone has a choice and everyone has a right. But we must know the facts. And I think it's important, that this is a presidential election, but it begins way down here at your local level. So we can't wait to every 4 years to become involved. Yes. Your local representatives are the ones that move on and present the platform that goes higher to your state and to your national level. Know what your state representative is saying. Know what your city representative is saying, whether they are on your page or not. But know the facts, and don't just wait until a presidential election. And my other plea is, please register. Please register, and be sure your voting place is valid. It concurs with your street address. You know who's on your ticket. I don't want to get too political, but it is still important because it's intentional, and it's your faith.
Conscious and intentional.
And it's not just going what your neighbor says. What is resonating with you? What is intentional for your life and what you want as a community and as a country?
We can't separate politics from our spirituality. It's all connected. It's all connected.
Good morning, all. Rev, I just want to thank you for bringing this up. I sincerely do, from the bottom of my heart. A lot of times I'm not working from here, I'm working from here. Emotionally, when you began, I felt a whole lot of things whelming up inside of me. And I felt as though I was about to bawl out crying. And I know it's because I'm feeling a lot of the things that are going on in the world. I'm picking these things up, and I have to be mindful to know where to draw the line and what is my stuff and what is their stuff. You know, and I'm just glad that you said it's not just political. It's not what's going on just in politics. It's a lot of the things that are going on within the world and the lack of peace and the lack of love and things like that. And I'm feeling this very, very heavily. It's weighing on me, you know, and I'm just so glad that you brought that up. And I'm very emotional right now because a lot of these things are coming up. And a lot of times I don't know where they're coming from here. I have to work through that and process, but I do know what I'm feeling in here. And sometimes what I'm feeling in here can be so overwhelming, so heavy on me. And so all that to just say, I thank you for bringing this up. And I still am like, I want to do that. And I might go in the room with you in the back, Cynthia, so that I can do that crowd on your shoulders. But I do thank you for bringing that up.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Roxanne. So, you know, certainly let us remember our inner living. It supersedes anything out there. Peace ain't gone nowhere. Joy is still present and on the scene. Love is still very present. The infinite possibilities are still available to us all. Ernest Holmes says we have access to it all. The one who has faith, to the one who has faith. As one last person, then we'll wrap up. Or two, okay? We'll go Arthur, and then we'll go Rebecca.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm here today because I remembered the Center of Peace at a time when I need compassion. And whether we all know it or not, we do need compassion. And in most cases, compassion is misunderstood by the general public. But where there's love and a capacity for love, and believe me, what I've found in my years, and I have piled up a lot of years, passion requires that we have trust in our faith. And believe me, I do trust my faith. I read a lot of things that talk about all of the things we are interested in. So I want to thank you for being here for me at a time when I needed all of you. And I came in today because Patrick invited me in, not that he had to, but I needed encouragement to come out. So I say, trust your faith.
Yes.
They questioned Jesus one time when the subject was reincarnation. They asked Jesus, do you believe in reincarnation? And Jesus said, intuitively, and this is what the book says, intuitively, I do believe there is a life beyond this one.
Yes.
But we have to trust our faith. Thank you.
Thank you. I just feel I need to confess that I've been practicing panic, and therefore I'm good at it. And so therefore just find new places to do it. And what comes up for me is what would happen if I let it go? Because somehow the panic and preparation might get mixed up together somehow. So what if I let go? What would that feel like? And am I allowed to feel that in the midst of everything else?
Well, that was,
And,
yep.
okay, and I want to exceed, but I'm feeling like I'm going to take it a few minutes at a time. Because to practice being intentional and giving up, to practice what I want instead of practicing what is around me, feels like a tall order.
Yeah.
And I'm not unwilling at all. I'm just saying those are some of the things that come up for me.
Yeah. Thank you, Rebecca. So in that same article that I quoted by Dr. Jim Lockhart, he also shares this quote, and it's important for us. It's a quote by Pema Chardron, I think, from When Things Fall Apart. And it says, to stay with the shakedness, to stay with a broken heart, with a rumbling stomach, with the feeling of hopelessness, that is the path to true awakening. Sticking with that uncertainty, getting the knack of relaxing in the midst of chaos, learning not to panic. That is the spiritual path. Listen, we only can do what we can do. That is being conscious and intentional. You gotta reach. Is the invitation to reach a little bit greater. It didn't give parameters that it's gotta be this, but to reach greater than our current conditions. You know, when my neighbor called and went straight to a panic, I said, hold on, I think you've called the wrong person. Let me go give you to Michelle so she can panic with you, because I'm not panicking. I said, Lisa, have you prayed? Where is your faith? Let me give you to Michelle. And they busted right on up. You see? Reach. Reach. Ours is not to run away from it, it's to move into it. The difference between living a conscious and intentional life is that you want to feel. Because you know eventually you get back to feeling good. You get back to feeling what it feels like to have the experience of knowing that God and I are one. Ever with me, will never forsake me. It's cosmic. The other is temporary. It's eternal. The other, sometimes it is, sometimes it ain't. Let's wrap up. I don't know what we're doing right here, right now, but come on, practitioners, let's. Let us come together now where we just are moved into prayer for our country, for this world, for each other, and for ourselves. As far as we're concerned, there's only one. Everything is connected. We can never be separate and apart. Creed, color, race, sex, religion, nothing. There's one. One holy and high divine idea seeking expression through each and every one of us, all the same. And all that it is resides in me as I know that it resides in you. It's love, it's joy, it's peace, it's wisdom, it's intelligence, it's love, it's pure, it's infinite expression, it's love, it's joy, it's peace, it's calm, it's resolve, it's harmony, it's order, it's love resides in me and it resides in you. Let us act wisely. Let us call forth the wise within us to see it, to hear it, to feel it, to sense it, and to know it. And as we unify with it, I declare for you, as I declare for myself, don't panic. Prepare. I declare for you, as I declare for myself, don't panic. Practice. Get quiet, get still, become available to a high and holy idea, something greater than what you're currently grasp a hold of. Let it go and be open to something greater. Move into it. Be available to feeling good, to feeling the essence of God, to feeling the essence of life, to know and feel that something is corresponding and responding to our thought. Let us affirm and declare and decree from this moment on, we are living a conscious and intentional life. And as we do, the whole universe conspires to meet us in living consciously and intentionally. It's not easily attained, but we can do it. So I am just giving thanks then for this moment of pause, this moment of clarity, this moment of communication. I'm giving thanks for the song, for the love, for the reminders that we all are sharing with each other. I am so grateful that we're reminding each other not to panic. We've been here before. Our humanity is always inclined and connected to our divinity, and our divinity is always on display. We've been here before. Don't panic. I'm grateful for this community, that we get to do this, to be conscious and intentional about our time together. I'm grateful. Let us be so moved in into simply gathering the words that have been spoken and turning it over into the mighty law of mind that we know is corresponding and responding to our words now, acting upon it, causing it to be in our lives. So we let it be. We let it be. And we come together in agreement by saying, and so it is. And so as we journey on throughout our week, let me remind you to remember, don't panic, prepare, don't panic, practice, don't panic, pray. And so it